Hey guys, everybody should have their books by now, so I'm going to go ahead and start reading The Magic Finger by Roald Dahl. A lot of you have already read some of his books. I know my James and the Giant Peach book group, we were reading in the middle of it, so hopefully you can finish that sometime on your own. This book doesn't have chapters, so I'm just going to read a little bit each day, and we'll just pick up where we left off the next day. Okay, so open up your books, and we'll go ahead and get started. The Magic Finger. The farm next to ours is owned by Mr. and Mrs. Gregg. The Greggs have 2 children, both of them boys. Their names are Philip and William. Sometimes I go over to their farm to play with them. I'm a girl and I'm 8 years old. Philip is also 8 years old. William is 3 years older. He is 10. What? Oh, all right then. He is 11. Last week, something very funny happened to the Gregg family. I'm going to tell you about it the best I can. There's the picture of the kids. Now, the one thing that Mr. Gregg and his 2 boys loved to do more than anything else was to go hunting. Every Saturday morning, they would take their guns and go off to the woods to look for animals and birds to shoot. Even Philip, who was only 8 years old, had a gun of his own. I can't stand hunting. I just can't stand it. It doesn't seem right to me that men and boys should kill animals just for the fun they get out of it. So I used to try to stop Philip and William from doing it. Every time I went over to their farm, I would do my best to talk them out of it, but they only laughed at me. I even said something about it once to Mr. Gregg, but he just walked on past me as if I wasn't there. Then, one Saturday morning, I saw Philip and William coming out of the woods with their father, and they were carrying a lovely young deer. This made me so cross that I started shouting at them. So what do you think cross means? Mad? The boys laughed and made faces at me, and Mr. Gregg told me to go home and mind my P's and Q's. That kind of means mind your own business. Well, that did it. I saw red, and before I was able to stop myself, I did something I never meant to do. I put the magic finger on them all. Oh dear, I even put it on Mrs. Gregg, who wasn't there. I put it on the whole Gregg family. For months, I had been telling myself that I would never put the magic finger upon anyone again, not after what happened to my teacher, old Mrs. Winter. Poor old Mrs. Winter. One day, we were in class, and she was teaching us spelling. Stand up, she said to me, and spell cat. That's an easy one, I said. K-A-T. You are a stupid little girl, Mrs. Winter said. I am not a stupid little girl, I cried. I am a very nice little girl. Go ahead and stand in the corner, Mrs. Winter said. Then I got cross, and I saw red, and I put the magic finger on Mrs. Winter, good and strong. And almost at once, guess what? Whiskers began growing out of her face. They were long, black whiskers, just like the ones you would see on a cat, only much bigger. And how fast they grew. Before we had time to think, they were out to her ears. Of course, the whole class started screaming with laughter, and Mrs. Winter said, "Will you be so kind as to tell me what you all find madly funny? All of you." And when she turned around to write something on the blackboard, we saw that she had grown a tail as well. It was huge, bushy tail. I cannot begin to tell you what happened after that, but if any of you are wondering whether Mrs. Winter is quite all right again now, the answer is no, and she never will be. The magic finger is something I have been able to do all my life. I can't even tell you how I do it because I don't even know myself. But it always happens when I get cross, when I see red. Then I get very, very hot all over. Then the tip of the forefinger of my right hand begins to tingle most terribly. And suddenly a sort of flash comes out of me, a quick flash like something electric. It jumps out and touches the person who has made me cross. And after that, that magic finger is upon him or her, and things begin to happen. Well, the magic finger was now upon the whole Gregg family, and there was no taking it off again. I ran home and waited for things to happen. They happened so fast. I shall now tell you what those things were. I got the whole story from Philip and William the next morning after it was all over. All right, so I'm going to stop right there today. So we will pick up on page 16 tomorrow. I hope you guys are enjoying the beginning of the book. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Bye.